There are some new people here, so welcome. My name is Jennifer Bridges, founder of PDUs2Go.com, and David Nour, our guest, our collaborator on Curve Benders. So welcome. So we use the reactions down at the bottom of the screen. So now I know all of us use Zoom all the time, but we want to use that and just raise your hand if you've been here before. Just let us know those who are returning. Got some thumbs up, whatever you want to do, send a heart, thumbs up. Okay, very good. And now let's see the people who are new so we can welcome them.
So not new. I'm not new.
Not new.
Can also lower your hand.
No, new. The new people. New people raise your hand. New people raise your hand. Those who are now confused, raise your hand. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. Right.
How many fingers am I holding up? So, all right. Well, welcome back for those of you who have been here before. Welcome to the new people. This will be recording. I want to go ahead and nip this in the bud. So if you start worrying about how do I get my PDU, for those watching the recording, those here, we have this information posted in the event page. So scroll down once we're through, not now, but when we're done, you'll find the PDU reporting instructions for those who want that information. We will continue questions. We always have such great chat during the session, but what we like to do is we like to continue these discussions on the event page. So if you have other questions, then that way people who missed the live session and watched the recording can also feel like they're part of the group. So anyway, with that, I'm excited about our topic today. This is the second of 3 of the live sessions we're having on curve benders. And if you missed the first one, you can go watch the recording. But anyway, with that, we've got a lot to cover. So David, I'm going to let you kick it off.
Would this be a bad time for me to say I'm in the wrong room? I'm in the wrong program.
This would be the wrong time.
So good to see you guys. I love Jennifer's formality. So I love it. So project management professionals, here's what we're doing. I'm a lot more casual. I'm just going to go with the flow. So glad you're here. Great to see a lot of familiar faces. I want to echo Jennifer's comment. Great to see some new faces. These sessions are always A, more fun, B, obviously more interactive whenever you can join us live. So 2 of 3 sessions. Our last one is next Tuesday. And I'm going to go ahead and mute Jerry there. Thank you. So last one is next Tuesday, same time, 3 o'clock Eastern. So elated you're here. The goal is to bring the content from this book. Hopefully you've received it. You're looking through. Look at Jennifer Bridges' highlight. That's called flexing. That Maria even got hers in Berlin. There you go. So there's Dr. G. Karen's got hers, right? Charles got his. Denise has got hers. Thank you, Brandon, for not putting it on eBay. Okay, friends don't do that to friends. I know you might. Samantha's here. There she is. You might be able to get $3 out of putting it on eBay, but friends don't do that to friends. Another reason I signed your name in it. You put it on eBay, I'm gonna know who did it.
So everybody do that again. I want a picture of that.
Oh, we're gonna picture. We're gonna get a picture. We're gonna picture. We're gonna get a picture. This is flexing. We're all. Jerry's disappeared. Carolyn is like, imagine if you will.
Jerry's having a hard time.
Jean has left the building. Just okay. Chris, you may not want to hide your face. I'm embarrassed to be seen by this book. All right, Jen, you got it? All right. Okay. So what I've said it before, I want to say it again. Be an active consumer of these ideas. I already know this stuff. I don't need to hear myself talk. What I want you to do is, as you read, not just what it says, but what does Nour mean? And again, if you remember, friends call me Nour. What does he mean? What does it mean to me? The idea, the reason I write books, you'd be delighted to hear I'm not writing Harry Potter, never going to get wealthy writing books. The goal of my books is to ignite a spark in you to take action, to improve your condition, to really think about your journey from now to next. And as we've seen labor reports, we've seen employment and unemployment reports, and I'm talking to a lot of clients, executives down the front row who are rethinking this pandemic as a chance to push restart, recalibrate. What's important to me? What lights me up? What sucks the life out of me? What do I want to go do more of? What I don't want to go do any more of? And I think that's a phenomenal opportunity to make time for that introspection. If you're not thinking about where you are and where do you want to go, this journey from now to next, any direction will do, right? And I'm telling you, I'm coaching leaders who after 20 years, 25 years, find themselves stagnant, find themselves having reached this plateau, and they'll tell you they stayed in their job too long. They stayed in that company too long. They didn't learn and grow in that process. So that's the biggest purpose for these sessions, is to really introduce ideas that will help you. And you don't have to be looking for another job. As a matter of fact, I always tell people, I'd rather deal with devil I know versus devil I don't know. And the grass is always greener on the other side, right? When you interview, it's dating. Nobody shows up on a date with green stuff between their teeth and a torn shirt. And we all put our best foot forward. And then you take the job and you're like, what the heck did I get myself into? Or for some of us that are individual, solopreneurs or entrepreneurs or coaches, the client sounds great before you talk. And then after you start coaching them, they're like, oh my God, I've taken a client from hell, right? So I'm sure it doesn't happen to any of you. But the point is, take the ideas from the book. I want to bring them to life. I want to help you think about them, install them, implement them. Having said that, this session is on Growth Grid. And if you can, Jennifer, can I ask you to kindly share your screen? That way we know Zoom is always kinder to you than it is to me.
Yes.
So if you could share your screen, and I want you to bring up our community, please.
Okay.
If you haven't already, while Jennifer's doing that, bookmark your community. The other thing I believe in is, as LinkedIn and Facebook and some of these places get more divisive and promotional, and people want to sell you everything from juices to coffee to copiers, you're going to see more of these micro communities. That's what the Nour Forum is. It's a niche micro community. I already belong to 5. So bookmark the Nour Forum, and that way in your browser, it's always there. You can always come find it, and make it a habit of, I'm there every day. Come jump in, come read, come really think about the stuff we're doing. So Jen, if you could close this in the top right corner, please. Close this in top right corner. And on the left-hand side, click on back to the network, top left corner, back to the network, and click on courses. You're there, good. Courses, click on Curve Benders for PMPs. You always want to come, any course, you want to look at table of contents on the left-hand side. Table of contents, second item, left-hand side. These are called sections, and within each section, there are lessons. So if you haven't already, I encourage you, Jen, go ahead and click on goal, or introduction is fine, and stay here for a second. So I typically, with every course, and I want to build a regular occurrence with things you're going to see here. I introduce the concept. Here's who it's for. Here's part of what we're doing. To recap, here's how we're going to begin, right? And then if you come to the bottom, you'll see at the very bottom, the very next. So the next one is the next lesson, or in this case, the next section. I talk about what the section is about. Scroll down. You can see the lessons that are in this section. So go ahead and click on the first one, key ideas. So I want to give you an introduction. I want to set the stage. That's actually one of the first images I have, talking to one of my curve benders back in 2017 about what this idea was about, right? Go ahead and scroll down. Go ahead and scroll down. And then you can see there's a video that I try to include, right? And by the way, there's a homework. So share in the comments section below 3 ideas that resonate with you. And if you come down, you see Marie, right? You see Maria, you see Claire, you see Dana, there's Dr. G, there's Bobby. Other people are jumping in. And I'm trying to tell you, you're going to learn as much from others in this course and any other course I put on than you are as from me. So I would encourage you, go through each section, go through the lessons, read, watch videos, and comment on it, because that's a fantastic way to get to know others. Jen, go ahead and click on close. So that's a little overview. In this session, we're in the learning sprint section. and we're on the second lesson. So last time we covered your personal market value is the first one here. If you haven't watched that, please go watch that from last week. Then the next one is the growth grid. That's where we are today. Any conversation, as Jennifer mentioned, any questions you have, it's always going to be in this lesson. We always want to capture the lessons around this all in one place. So go back to the top. Go back to the top if you're good for me. So I introduced the concept. If I've got a visual, I share the visual. Scroll down, scroll down. There is a video that you may want to watch, right? Some people learn differently. And the key is that handout. I'll create a handout. So we're going to go through this handout. Can you go back to the page real quick? Right below that, if you have the book, if you read the book, there's the sections of the book where this topic is covered. I promise I will seldom cover things that are, you don't have a reference in the book to go back and read more about. Ideal if you read this before you come, because your head's in the right place about the topic we're going to talk about. It's okay if you don't. I get it. I'm a realist. We're all busy. We're all pulled in different directions, but go back and read in the book that section. And then I have a your turn. And in your turn, I want you to think about some questions, right? So I don't do exercises because I have nothing else to do. I want to know what resonates with you. I want to know, why was it so impactful? I want to know, where do you believe the best opportunity for you is to use this stuff, right? So make sure you look at the your turn questions, and then word of caution. I seldom believe in black or white. Nothing is ever that clear. So I always say, listen, I like this idea. Otherwise, I wouldn't write and talk about it. But make sure you don't see anything as definitive. It should be the stuff I provide. The stuff I teach ideally gives you tools and an arsenal to tackle where you're going, what are you doing. Let me pause. Please jump in the chat, and I have the chat open. Questions, comment. BK had to... camera's not working. Sorry about that. I'll look at the recording later in meeting. No, Samantha, no issues. So please jump in. Questions, comments, anything so far that I want to just reinforce the navigation and where and how we put this course, but also every other course we create. I'm going to follow a similar format. It's going to be on the left-hand side. There'll be a table of content. There'll be an introduction. There'll be sections and lessons. I posted today, we're standing up some 20 additional courses just in the next 2 quarters. So my goal with this community was gather like-minded professionals and raise the bar on how you think, what you think about, right? And I'm trying to make them affordable. Most of you know, a lot of my work is with large enterprises. I never really had a community for those that believed in my ideas and wanted to gather. And that's the whole point of the Nour Forum community. And I'm grateful for Jennifer. She runs by far our biggest group. I think there's over 1,000 PM, project management professionals in that PDUs2Go group. So I'm here every day. And the goal of this navigation was to kind of show you around. Any questions?
Yeah, David.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and ask, we get a lot of this question for the people who miss how to watch the previous session. Perfect.
So thank you. Again, everything that we do, including this recording, I post in that module. So if you missed last week, that was one of these learning sprints. So the first lesson is personal market value. Go ahead and go in there.
So make sure if you ask this question, we're at the learning sprints in the table of contents. So your personal market value.
That was the first session. Again, introduction, graphics. You're going to see pretty consistently. Download. Now, hold on. Go back up. Download. Right there's the handout. Right below it, watch this. That's the recording. Right below it, watch this, because I didn't have a video before that. So what I'll do is I'll add a line under watch this. This is a recording of the intro session, right? This is a recording of our time together. But everything you need about that topic is on that page. And if you click on that, all of these videos are on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. They're not listed. Oh, look at JB right there. They're not listed, but if they're all YouTube videos. So this is simply a link to there, and you can watch the recording from last time, and you can see it's an hour. We have Amazon Web Services, we have Vimeo, we found a bunch of other places. We found YouTube to be the easiest to just post it up there. And that's what I'll do with this one as well. Right below that, read the section in the book. There's your turn, word of caution. If you scroll down, love it. You see other people, right? There you go. Word of caution at the bottom. There you go. Other people are jumping in. Love that. Love that other people. And yeah, do exactly what Jennifer just did. Cheer on the comments of others, right? That's how we know that was of interest to you. That was of value to you. So Jen, thank you for bringing that up. Any questions? Let's see. Well coordinated overview, rich site content. Thanks, Mark. You rock. Denise, the supporting content helps enrich the chat discussions and keep them focused. Really helpful. Great. Ditto, Denise. Yes, perfect. Thank you for that. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this now. Second session, growth grids to solve complex challenges and opportunities. If you don't hear anything else from me today, you ready for this? When most people face a challenge or an opportunity, in my experience, they often ask, what should we do and how should we do it? They don't ask enough who questions. Who do we know? Who do we need? How do you activate the biggest army that you have at your disposal, which is your portfolio of relationships? I think you would be shocked if you come to one of my sessions and not hear me talk about relationships. The challenge is everybody gets the relationships are important. We don't bridge that importance to their significance. So what I've done with this growth grid idea is, and I want to quickly walk you through it, then we're going to do something you asked for last time, which is I want to spend most of our time together in breakouts, and I have some fabulous breakout session content captains that have volunteered to lead the conversations. And we're going to break out into these groups. And what I really want you to do, what brings this content to life, are examples. So they're going to ask you questions about your projects, your initiatives, things that you're working on. So Jen, go ahead and open up the handout, please. There you go. It's just a PDF. You click on it, opens. So again, same thing. You're going to see a very consistent level of consistency. That's a thing with my handouts, right? So the top is a description of what it is. Please, please, please do not distribute these. This is copyrighted content by us and by Wiley because this is related to the book. So 4 quadrants in this area. So let me talk about this first time. If you think of a 2x2 matrix, and again, if you have the book, you want to go to page, it's on page 22. If you have the book, I know people learn different ways, on page 22. So we're going to start in the bottom left corner. Page 22, bottom left corner, there's the growth grid image. And there's 2 quadrants that I often think about. The x-axis is what's my pain point? It's amazing how often we jump right into a solution versus spend a few more minutes on what is the actual pain point we're trying to solve. So if I understand the pain point, I have a much better chance of then moving to the right, which is what's the potential resolution? And I made it plural, resolutions. Jen, just hold on there a second. I'm just referencing the image. So the image on page 22, x-axis at the bottom, pain points, resolutions.
Sorry, y'all.
The y-axis, right, up and down. I always want to start with a concrete direction. If I just told you on a map, follow the blue lines or the blue roads, you'd look at me like, wait, what? What do you mean blue roads? Give me a highway give me a highway number, or give me a, concrete direction of where we're going. Oh yeah, just go that way. What the hell does that mean? Right? Well, go figure it out. That's just too loosey-goosey for me, and I'm allergic to vagueness. So I always want to start with a concrete direction, but I don't want to limit myself as such, which then leads to abstract concepts. So starting in the first quadrant, bottom left, inquisition. I want to inquire. I want to coach you to ask questions to a nauseam. I want to find out, and you can see the first one is identify the real need. What is the fundamental pain point we're trying to address here? I love meetings that have one purpose and one purpose only. We're meeting here today to figure out blank. If your meeting agenda was a question, I'm pretty sure by end of the meeting, we would know whether that was a successful meeting or not, because we either have an answer to the question, or at least we have a direction of where we're going to go. So I like early on, out of the gate, let's get very clear on what problem are we trying to solve? What pain point are we after? And if you've ever been in any kind of coaching session with me, I learned this from one of my mentors, a guy named Alan Weiss. Alan doesn't care. I care, but I really don't want to know all the background stuff. So I'm also going to ask you, what's your question of me? Tell me, what problem are we trying to solve? Let me ask you for more details if I need it. But if we start with identify the real need, why would I say real? Jump in the chat. Why would I say real need? Is there a fake need? Why would I say identify the real need as the first step? Jump in the chat. Jump in the chat. Why would I say, I think language is really powerful and important. Why would I say real need? Real would be like root cause. Yes. The fundamental need, not superficial. Yes. Why invest if there's no real return? Yes. The 5 whys. Charles, type a little bit more, or maybe unmute yourself. Tell me what the 5 whys are.
You keep asking the question over and over again. What happened?
Love it.
Why
Love
did it
it.
happen?
Yes. The reason I do that is, how often have you seen problems that are actually not the real problem? All the time, right? We think it's the problem, but you ask enough more questions, or you ask enough questions, and you figure out not just what's happening, but why is it happening? That's the real opportunity. So I don't care about fake needs or perceived needs, or I think maybe we should. And by the way, you know what opinions are? Everybody has one. That's great. That's fantastic. Tell me what the problem is. So identify the real need. That's the first step. Jan, let's go scroll down. Next one, we're going to move at a pretty quick clip here. Research your ecosystem. I want you to scour your network. We're still in that concrete direction. This is all about who questions. Who has seen this problem? Who has seen this challenge? Who has seen this opportunity? I am willing to bet you there are no new challenges. There are no new struggles. The only new challenge is the one you haven't thought of. Somebody somewhere within the project management world, I promise you, has deployed an SAP system. They've deployed an HR system. They've deployed whatever it is you're struggling with. Somebody's seen it. We don't ask enough who questions early on. Number 3, once I find someone, let's just say Jennifer Bridges at Bell South, while she was working with Accenture, solved exactly this problem. And let's just say it's not in the past, it's in the present. I want to talk to her. I want to observe. Pre-pandemic, I would go see her. Can I come see you? Can I come see? You would not believe how receptive people are, especially to others that are struggling with the same thing. So observing, right, direct or indirect, observing how exactly, I want to know their approach. I want to know the details. And you may want to write this down somewhere. I am never concerned with what I don't know. I'm always afraid of what I don't know. So when I say relationship observations, I want to observe how they're thinking about that problem or challenge or opportunity. What lens are they looking through? What experiences they bring to that same challenge I'm struggling with. And the only way I know how to do that is observation. I can ask them and they'll answer me based on the questions that they think, or I can observe. I like observable behavior. By the way, write somewhere in the margins, one of the best courses I ever took, and I want to bring this to the Nour Forum, is called Human-Centered Design. Human-Centered Design. It is all about observing what people do with, it's fairly prevalent in product development. So imagine if you're making a lawnmower. Well, I want to know how people use that. So you build a prototype, you put something in people's hands. You remember the old focus groups we used to have? You watch how people interact with it. And you're like, well, that handle seems goofy, or that starter doesn't seem to work, and that's how you evolve that prototype into something. You can also do it with service, but it has a whole lot of applications. It nicely ties into design thinking. And I teach a class at Emory University around strategy visualization. It's this stuff over my shoulder. We bring some of that elements into StratViz as well. but this whole idea of observation comes from human-centered design that might be really useful to you. So now in the first quadrant, I have concrete direction on the pain point I'm trying to solve. Let me pause. Questions, comments. Good. I'm going to keep going because I want to give you more time in the breakout rooms. Quadrant 2. Now I want to go up. You see the directions of the arrows. So now I want to take that. I'm still in pain point. Notice I didn't jump into a solution. We jump into solutions way too soon. I'm still in the pain point column. But now I want to expand that purview. I've got a concrete direction of what my issue is. And by the way, I don't believe everybody's damaged. So it's not just a challenge. It could also be an upside opportunity. We want to go after a new market. We want to go after we want to do something interesting, different. This whole coming back to work could be one of those. Upside potential, right? So now I want to expand my purview, because if I approach the problem, look at my camera. If I approach the problem just like this, right? I've got blinders on, right? And there's a 2x4 over here coming at me with a nail in it, probably a rusty nail in it. So you want to expand your purview. You want to open your lens. You want to look at your purview. And that's exactly what this is. So now if I know what the problem I'm trying to solve is, and I've got some concrete direction, I can now prioritize, which is 4, those insights. And when I spoke with my relationships, they talked about their issues. They talked about how they tackled it. They talked about that project and all the gotchas, right? Now I've got a whole bunch of things. I did this with a client. I've got 22 pages of notes. Nobody needs 22 pages of notes. So I'm summarizing it into bullet points. What are the top 3 to 5 prioritized insights? That's what I want to capture. By the way, just because they're a priority to you doesn't mean they're actually the right priorities, because we also have a confirmation bias. Write it down. Write it down somewhere. Confirmation bias. We go pursue that which we think is right. We go pursue that direction. Has any friend or significant other in the car suggested that you take a different road to your destination? What do most of us men typically always say? No. I know where I'm going. We have a confirmation bias. I know where I'm going. I want to go that way. I want you to check that at the door. So the bonus on number 4 says, do you have an inner circle of relationships as a sounding board? Here are the things I'm thinking are priorities for us to pursue. What am I missing? What am I not thinking about? You need that sounding board to truly open up your purview. Keep going, Jen. Next one. Myopia can be fatal. Dr. G, you're exactly right. 5. The next step is learn, adapt, revise. If I have those prioritized insights, I want to know what learnings can I capture? How am I going to adapt those learnings in my environment? How will I revise them based on resource and constraints? Make no mistake about it. Every scenario I've walked into, there's constraints, time, budget, right now, talent. Most of my clients cannot find the right kind of talent. I spoke with the CEO right before this. About 800 million in revenue. They cannot find enough. They're in the industrial machinery business. They cannot find enough talent. So they're building one. They're literally going out and grabbing high school kids, and they're teaching them machine shop, machine class. Their whole supposition is 4-year university isn't right for everybody. You remember Mike Rowe with the whole dirty jobs thing, right? I recently read a report that says a welder in the US can make north of 100K a year. I didn't make 100K until I was in my 30s. Are you kidding? So think of all the jobs that we can't find enough people for. So what are you learning? How are you adapting? Next one, experiment and build. This is critical. Experiment and build. Write it down. If you wait for it to be perfect, you're going to miss the opportunity. If you wait for it to be perfect, you're going to miss the opportunity. Progress always trumps perfection. Startups have a saying, if you're not embarrassed by what you put on the market, you've waited too long. if you're not embarrassed, I know you're project management professionals. I know you have a need for it to be perfect. And if you're launching a rocket, or you're cutting into me, by all means, please make sure what you do is perfect. But in many cases, progress trumps that perfection. Jennifer's tired of hearing me say version 1 is better than version none. So this is all about experiment. This is all about build. Build the first version. Questions, comments. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going. Jump in, either the chat, raise your hand. I want to make sure if you have questions, comments, I make sure that we make time. Dean, good to see you, man. That bridge, I've actually ridden my motorcycle across that bridge. That's a beautiful country. Rosie is here. Wow, very cool. All right. So quadrant 3. So now look at what we did. We have concrete direction, the pain point. I've expanded my purview and formulation, second quadrant. Now I'm coming to the bottom right, which is exploration. And exploration is all about options. Options. There's a reason resolutions is plural, not singular. When we do this class in person, I put a problem in front of you, you build it, you're ready for this. I make you crumble up your first solution and throw it out. Why? I don't want you married to any one idea. That's when the bias takes over. That's when your prejudice takes over. That's when I'm right, you're wrong takes over. And that is the kiss of death. Because what I want for you is to look at your options. There's always options in how we can do something. So in resolutions, I want to hone. I'm going to start by honing metrics and milestones. How we're going to measure the progress of this solution that we've just built. What are the milestones that will either, you want to write this down, verify, validate, or void our critical assumptions. I'm looking for ways, metrics and milestones to verify, are those the right numbers? Yep. Validate, are we going in the right direction? Are we solving the right problem? Are we utilizing the best resources? Yep. Or void, whoa, we're going in the wrong direction. Put on the brakes, back it up a second. We got to change course here. Verify, validate, or void the critical assumptions you're making. That's what the right metrics and milestones should do. Next, on number 8, I want to gather feed forward. Why would I say feed forward, not feedback? I learned this one from Marshall Goldsmith. Feedback is looking in the rearview mirror. That's great when Denise tells me all the things I did wrong last month. I can't do anything about those. What I really want is Jerry to tell me, feed forward. Nour, here's the things you should be thinking about moving forward. Maria says, hey, don't have that blind spot moving forward. So feed forward is how do I, not a lagging indicator, but a leading driver. How do I get into anticipating? How do I get into predicting? How do I look ahead? That's what's most valuable to me in looking at this challenge or looking at this opportunity. Only when I do that. By the way, feed forward takes enormous amount of humility. Jerry is a rock star. He knows it. We know it. Jerry is a rock star. It takes a certain rock star humility to put your ego aside and listen to Jim. Because I'm pretty sure he didn't paint on the gray hair. And when you listen to a broader audience, I'm telling you, you'd be amazed of the light that Jim's going to shine on that scenario that Mark hadn't even thought of. Brandon is coming from a very different set of experiences than Kenneth. Carolyn is going to say, okay, boys, hold on a second. I appreciate all your egos, but just hold on a minute. Has anybody thought about this way? That takes humility. When you do that, you start to apply those learnings. You start to apply that feed forward from your relationships in the evolution of that preliminary build, of that initial pass at this, which leads us to quadrant 4. 4 is all about regeneration. Look at what we're doing. We've got some options. We got some concrete direction of options of how we can solve this. Now we're even opening up our purview on the options. This is, believe it or not, the most valuable asset in the growth grid, because if you go through the previous 3 quadrants, by the time you get here, it becomes this iterative pool. And do you see the figure 8 on page 22? You see the figure 8 of it comes down to the build, you experiment, you build, you hone your metrics and milestones, you gather the feed forward, apply the learning, regenerate to come back to build again. So you have now this figure 8 that plays off of that space. That's how you create iterations of something. And what I want for you is create that figure 8 through your relationships of what's working, what's not. How do we go to version 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, so on and so forth. If you've studied any of this, if you're interested in this, lean startup, the whole lean startup is a good angle for this. This is very much an iterative learning, iterative process approach to something, right? And I'd rather have you stick around that infinity loop for a while, that figure 8 loop, and keep learning, keep applying. So if you scroll down, and then I really do want to jump in the breakout rooms, I give you some reflections. So if we can do this for a project, if we can do this in our work, why couldn't we do this for ourselves, right? So think of yourself as that product. Think of yourself as that journey. So what pain point are you trying to solve? And ladies, excuse the expression, but let's just say my current job sucks. Okay, what about it? Why is it happening? What aren't you excited about? That's the pain point, right? I'm not learning. I'm not growing. I'm stagnant. I can't reach that proverbial next level. Great. Let's make that the pain point, and I can take you through the growth grid through that. Number 12, what 3 to 5 strategic relationships do you have now, or can you nurture that'll be most impactful in your journey through the 4 quadrants? Number 13, could the same 4 quadrants and 10 questions apply to your own personal development? I want to become a vice president. I want to become a COO. I don't have some of those capabilities. Great. Let's make that the pain point. 14, what do you take away from this exercise that you can teach others? Why would I want you to teach others? That's when you really learn how to master a tool like the growth grid. Questions, comments. Does this make sense? Does this resonate? Give me a thumbs up. Let's do reactions. Thumbs up, reactions, thumbs up. If this is, oh, I got it. Charles, Dr. G, Karen is in the house. Jim, Jerry, there's Rosie, there's Dean, there's other Gene. Hello, Carla. Carla is incognito. So is Deborah, but I'm getting thumbs up. Love it. Very cool. Okay, so Jennifer, you want to stop sharing your screen. So moving forward with the next week's same idea. I'm going to post the content. I'm going to take it live, the content, the video, the handout. I'm going to take it live before the class. Ideal if you look through it before we get together, but it's okay if you don't. We'll do it together here as well. What I want to do for the last 15, let's do 15 minutes. Then we're going to come back together again. 15-minute breakout rooms. I'm going to break you out into smaller groups. I have content captains. In the small groups, I really want you to bring up examples. I want you to talk about projects. I want to talk about things that are right now in your life, and have the growth grid, either the handout and the book on page 22 in front of you. And you don't have to go through all 10 steps, but pick a quadrant, pick a step, and just talk about it. 15 minutes, different groups. Let me go ahead and I'm going to pause. If you have questions, raise your hand. So Mark, go ahead and unmute yourself and jump in.
Yeah, hi Nour. I think the one that came up for me, and maybe I used a little bit of this with the group, was there's several iterative steps in this model, right? And I assume that getting to know those really clearly just comes through trying them out. Is that true? I mean, because, you know, there's some are learning, adapting, revising. It sounds a lot like plan, do, check, act, and all those kinds of things. And so we just wanted to, you know, maybe see if you had any thoughts about how to make that very clear.
Unequivocally, yes. So like any other tool, number one, I would put this up, put that first page with the image up somewhere. Two, try it, try different challenges. Try my two biggest thing I want is really spend some time on that concrete direction pain point, inquisition. Clients I'm coaching, we peel back enough of the onion, they haven't defined the pain point sufficiently enough. Why it's happening, who says it's happening, what evidence do we have that it's happening? What evidence do we have that's in fact the root cause of why it's happening? I ask so many questions in quadrant 1, Mark, it drives people crazy. But I'm not moving on till we figure out, are we solving the right problem? That's 1. Regeneration, top right corner, quadrant 4, is your biggest learning growth aha moment because it's so iterative. So the answer is yes. This is a muscle. This is muscle memory. Do not get hung up on terminology. You could call it whatever you want. This isn't about ego to me. This is about having a tool to solve complex challenges. By the way, this does not work for what groceries should I buy tonight, right? If the problem isn't complex enough, you're not using the right tool. So this is for complex challenges that you don't think you've seen before, where relationships are going to be really valuable. Does that answer your question? All right.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Thank you for that. Dr. G, you're up.
Nour, I'm sensing that a question that some folks might have is, okay, so you've gone through the inquisitive process and you have identified the concrete specific pain point. But what if after all of that, you still are unsure about to whom you should go to about brainstorming a solution?
Love it. Love it. Great question. Your first pass should be the relationships you already have. If not, let's say I call 10 people, and this is why making a list of your most valuable, most relevant relationships is really important. And I'm going to talk more about this in the course, Getting Business Relationships Right. But make a list of your 10, 20, 30, 50 most relevant relationships. I'm going to go through that pass first. Maria, I'm having a problem with this. Have you seen this? No. Mark, I'm having a problem with this. Have you seen this? No. Brandon, I'm having a problem with this. Have you seen this? No. I'm asking each of them. My second question is, do you know anybody else who's seen this? Oh my gosh, yes, I work with, or I was just on a call, or I was talking to, or I belong to my local PMI, and I think Susan over there. Have you heard of Karen? Karen is in Vancouver. I think she's struggling with the exact same issue. Ding, 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 ding. Now I've got friend of a friend. It's that Kevin Bacon 6 degree of separation. Now I'm on the 2nd degree. I'm going to talk to Karen. Karen's like, yeah, I've got part of that problem, but I don't have the exact problem you do. Do you know Chris Simmons down in Auburn, Georgia? No, I don't. Would you kindly connect us? Now I've got friend of a friend of a friend. You see where I'm going with this? Now I'm using my network effect to find people, and that becomes the real key. Is every one of your relationships, you ask, have you seen this problem? Have you tackled this kind of a problem? No. Do you know somebody who does? No. Any idea of where I can go to find someone? No. That's 3 strikeouts. I'm moving on to the next relationship. But most cases, one of those is going to be yes. Not my cup of tea, not what I'm working on. I think Denise is tackling that exact same issue. Ding, ding, ding. I don't know, Denise. Would you kindly introduce us? So I think, Dr. G, does that answer your question? And for others?
Yes,
Beautiful.
thank you.
All right, let me go to Jennifer Bridges. Then I want to go to Carolyn.
Yeah, I wanted to also mention when we're reaching out to the network is leveraging the community, even in our own group, in our breakout. BK, Brendan could contact BK on something initiative he's working on. And then it's like there are a lot of people working on different change initiatives. I mentioned,
Absolutely.
I know Dr. G and I have talked about change management.
Absolutely.
So it's
Love
definitely,
that. Yes.
usually we're working on something that maybe others in our organization haven't done before.
Absolutely.
It's a
Jennifer,
great
thank you.
community to leverage.
Today, you might be coming for me, you might be coming for Jennifer, you might be coming for the post, and but absolutely, I'm hoping another reason for your complete profile is give people a glimpse of, I'm gonna go search oil and gas, and here are the members that are in the oil and gas business. I'm gonna go search entertainment. Here are the members that are in the entertainment business. I'm gonna go search Colorado. Here are the members that are in Colorado, right? So absolutely leverage the network. Jennifer, thank you for that. Carolyn, you get the final question.
Thank you. Actually, it was just a comment that I noticed in our conversation, and it was a good reminder that everybody had something to say about a particular thing. People enjoy talking about, if they've seen that before, they enjoy talking about how it worked for them and what they ran into.
Great, 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 great. So thank you for coming. Hopefully this was useful to you. For next Tuesday, I'm gonna give you more time to look at the material in advance, look at the handout, so we can have even more time. I want more of this time to be in these small breakouts for you to get to know each other better and really talk about the application of these. And as I did, I'll peek my head in to different groups to see if you have any questions. So next time, the overview is going to be even shorter by me, so we can have more time in the breakouts and you can talk to each other. Questions, comments, homework at the bottom. Jennifer showed us bottom of this section. We're in section 2, the learning sprints, lesson 2, growth grid. Next time is going to be the 7 steps, the 7 paths to your curve benders. There's a podcast I've recorded. There's a blog post. I've done a LinkedIn live on it, the video stream. So there's a lot of other stuff you can watch before you come to the next one. I'll put all of those in that lesson. Go make it a great week. I'll see you in the forum. Thank you, content captains. You guys rock. You're awesome. Appreciate everybody. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.